It is not death that a man should fear. Rather, he should fear never beginning to live. This quote is attributed to Marcus Aurelius, and it's not hard to see why this statement is so well received. I mean, there's a reason that people are only guaranteed two things in life, so why not make the most of it, right? But this intrinsic fear of death is something that we as humans have had forever. Cultures as ancient as cave paintings tell the tale of a fear of death. This idea that death is something that is to be warded away at all costs. There's tales of those historically that fought tooth and nail to survive and do everything in their power to stave death off forever. In the story, The Time Machine, from 1895, written by H.G. Wells, we see a scientist who has created a time machine and visits the future. We see a world that has long since passed us technologically, where our modern day things are put as relics in museums. We see a world even further beyond that treats us as we would treat Neanderthals, a footnote in the history of existence. And further than that, we see the end of the planet as we know it. We see the sun close in on itself, destroying the planets in our solar system, and further than that, we see the end of the universe. This fills our scientist, our main character, with a sense of apathy that is unparalleled, and by the end of the book, he has gone missing, never to be found again. Slay the Princess, alternatively, is a horror game from 2023 which presents the simple task of slaying a princess. Under the guise of this task, however, is a masterfully crafted narrative about the relationship between life, death, and mortality. We see the narrative spin a tale of the fear of death controlling people, how it can create a kind of hopeless meaninglessness in the world, and how death isn't something that we should see as quite as adverse as it is. Death, it argues, is what gives life its meaning. Should we have an eternal existence, what makes us different than the stars compared to the sun? There's a kind of distance that begins to grow where we don't quite comprehend how meaningless life would be were it not finite. The argument there is that death is an important, imperative part of life that should be treated with its due reverence and not something that is actively feared and impedes the ability for one to live. I myself, in my youth, around 12 years old, once had a quite drastic fear of death. I sought a way or some kind of method to become immortal in my phrasings. I wanted to become famous. I wanted to do something that would mark my name down and tell tales of me for years and decades to come, for this turn of the century to still have my name. It wasn't until my own stint with death, not my death, but my sister's close death, that I really woke up from that daydream. I realized that life doesn't always work the way you want it to, and you need to find moments that are good enough, things that are small enough for you to tangibly touch. You don't need infinity, you don't need eons, you just need the now. You need to live in order to make life worth living. You need death to give meaning to that life. And that's my argument.